Welcome to Everything Entrepreneurship, the podcast with Jerome, the show for ambitious employees, skilled professionals, and working entrepreneurs ready to build something of their own without losing sight of the life they've already built. We help you recognize the gold mine you're already sitting on so you can create extra streams of income with clarity, structure, strategy, and speed. I'm your host, Jerome. This is episode 13, and we're about to have a great episode. If it's your first time with us, please make sure if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the like, comment down below. We want to show some engagement on YouTube. If you're listening to us on Spotify and Apple Music, we have a great episode for you. Last week I said, after the introduction, we're just going to get right into it. So that's what I'm going to do. But briefly, for those that did not get part one, which was last week, Part one, we went over exactly what it takes to actually succeed in any of these business ventures, and we defined what a vehicle is, a vehicle being a business model. Last week, I touched on 15 different side hustles and businesses that you could start, as well as which are the most common to be started from people still working a job. And today, I'm going to refine that grid, that table, and I said, let's focus on the top 5 that a person in your situation is most likely going to start. Right. And again, everything entrepreneurship, everything that I preach is never going to tell you which direction to go in. I'm not going to say which vehicle to pick. All the information, all the value, everything that I convey, you can see as either the fuel or the GPS for whatever business vehicle you choose to go after. Right. So without further ado, let's get started. Last week, we went over this full thing, and it was in the link below on YouTube. So if you want to get this reference sheet, where I went over, like I said, the 15 different most common side hustles and businesses that people start. But it was a little complex, not necessarily for me, but for a few people that actually clicked on the link, downloaded it, read it, and said, hey, KJC, can you make this a little simpler? So in my pursuit to provide more value, to make sure that this part 2 not only sticks, but it feels good as well, I refined that a little bit, right? So let's dive into the top 5 that you or somebody that's still working a job but understands they need that extra revenue stream is going to typically try and get into to make some money. All right. So we have affiliate marketing, coaching and consulting, real estate, industry specific coaching, and then franchise ownership. And yes, obviously, there are hundreds, even thousands of different business types that people can get into, right? But as it pertains to this episode, Everything Entrepreneurship, episode 13, if you're working a job, I'm not going to say you're most likely going to get into one of these businesses, but these 5 are typically going to be the easiest for you to transition into so that you can ultimately get a second form of income from them, right? And as you can see in the columns, I stripped down, we went from like 10 different things to just 5 things outside of the business type that are going to make it easier for you to not just understand, but also digest, right? We don't need more moving parts. The more moving parts, the longer it takes to understand, and the longer it takes to understand, the more people that are lost. And I want you to really be able to take this information in and act on it as you see fit, right? So now there's nothing necessarily wrong with any of these. But you have to know yourself, right? Just because you're getting into a side hustle or a full-blown business, you have to take into account the time available that you have outside of your job, your energy level during that 5 to 9. So the time from when you get off of work to the time that you start winding down to go to sleep, the amount of money you're willing to invest into this side hustle or business, the skills you already have, and the lifestyle alignment, right? Many times you're going to see ads come across your social media feed that tell you get into this type of business, or let's just say this vehicle, right? Get into this vehicle or business type because all it requires is X, Y, and Z. Hey, you can steal my framework, put this up, and you can start making money from it. Or most common, you see many people pushing, you can make 100,000. I can show you how to make $100,000. You can make $100,000 from doing this or doing that. And while that is true, you can. The reasons most people fail is because, again, they either have the wrong mindset or they don't actually follow through on doing the work. And doing the work is the way that most people phrase it's your responsibility to do the work to alleviate the success or failure of the person trying or attempting that business model is just insane. Um, but that's just the life we're in. Um, that's why I want you to take everything with a grain of salt. Do your own research. The last thing I want you to do is just be like, oh, KJC said it, so just here, just I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I want you to take into consideration your life, your routines, what you're good at, what you're not good at, like when you get energy in the day, and just figure out which of these would best fit you as it pertains to making the extra income. You don't want to go after what's popular, you want to go after what's fit for you, right? So, affiliate marketing is a great start. You're able to attach yourself, quote unquote, or your sale to somebody else's brand, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a certain person, it could be a business. Let me give you some examples. If I'm selling a $9.97 course and I have the fact that you can get an affiliate link below on my website or something like that. I don't. I'm just saying, for example, you get that affiliate link and you promote, hey, KJC has this course, or you take different video clips from my podcast or me being out and stuff like that, and you promote it to your followers or following that you know. For each person that was to sign up and purchase a course, a portion of that would go to you as an affiliate, right? Sometimes that could be 10%, sometimes that could be 50%. But imagine if I have a $9.97 course and you attach to me that affiliate link, or you attach to you the affiliate link, and you're making money off of the people that you direct towards it. So you don't necessarily have to convey the value. You just repurpose the value that I give. You reach more people than I'm directly reaching. And by doing that, those that purchase, you would get a percentage of that, right? Now, I'm not getting it too deep into introvert, extrovert, um, but at the same time, affiliate marketing is great for somebody that's introverted. You don't want to be in front of the camera. Strategically, you could figure out what's the best way to take somebody's brand, product, or service and get it in front of more people, right? Let's say you want to become an affiliate marketer of an actual like brand or business company. Let's just say ClickFunnels. Their price is $97 a month. And again, for each person that you were to put out, send marketing materials from them to others or to an email list or whatever it might be, you getting that link for that product in front of more people, the people that purchase, you would get money from, right? Now, I have job compatibility high here because it's very easy for you to do while you're working. You might need to sacrifice 5, maybe 10 hours a week. Um, Anything past having the correct strategy and understanding exactly who you're or what you're attaching yourself to will be very easy for somebody to make their first dollar from affiliate marketing, right? Um, Now, I put that in the side hustle category for a reason. You don't necessarily need to be 100% committed. You don't necessarily have to do a whole business or marketing plan. Anybody can literally find a person, a brand, a company that they want to attach themselves to and get that message of that product service to more people, and you can make money from that. Whether it's accumulating $20 here, $30 here, $500, depending on what that percentage is, right? Um, Next, we have coaching and consulting. I want to tackle coaching and consulting B2C compared to industry specific coaching, B2B, a little differently, right? Let me put it back on the screen so you guys can see. I have the business vehicle of coaching and consulting as a car because it's a little bit different than industry specific coaching. Technically, I should have reversed the wording. I should have just said coaching and consulting and then industry specific consulting, right? At least that's the train of thought that I'm down right here. So you're going to see a lot of people advertise online. Again, you don't need to know business. If you have done something, overcome something, you have a certain level of knowledge on a specific subject, you can be a coach. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you you should be a high ticket coach. Again, because, you know what, let me stop. The industry is doing what the industry does, and it's fair game, right? But high ticket is not the only way to go. It's very attractive when you look at the amount of sales you need compared to something low ticket. But when it comes to coaching and consulting specifically, people are typically productizing their knowledge, right? I heard a story of college professors. This is like around the pandemic. College professors not knowing what was happening with the pandemic and finding out that people making all this money online, they're underpaid basically. And they basically said, I'm gonna just package the meat and potatoes. I'm gonna say meat and potatoes. Basically, all you need to know on the subject, and I'm gonna sell that online. And they basically became a coach, even though they're a teacher, to say, hey, I'm gonna make this course, and attached to this course, you have this coaching with me, right? Um, but basically, if you've done something, you don't need to be an expert. You don't necessarily need a certification nowadays, right? Many people are selling people on one step. For instance, if there are 100 steps in this business type, right? Excuse me. If there's 100 steps in this business or whatever it might be, I still have this up. 1 second. Sorry. If there's 100 steps in this business, right? You don't necessarily have to be at step 90 to 100 to then say I'm qualified to start selling people on this product or service. Many times people now will be at step 3, they'll be at step 17, step 21, because they know that people will still buy from somebody to get past that step. You don't necessarily have to say I'm an expert, I'm a qualified professional. Many times people now are getting into some form of coaching and consulting to just regular people by saying, hey, I'm not an expert, but I know this right here, and you have to get past this to get to this. So I'm going to sell you this step in the form of a coaching offer, right? Again, this is something that you can do while you're at work. It's both medium to high for job compatibility, as well as the work required outside of work. And you could probably make your first dollar from that within about 2 to 6 weeks. It all depends on who you are, how you convey the message, who you're talking to, what niche you're in. There's a lot of different moving parts, right? But at the same time, that's the economy we're in right now. I would easily buy somebody's coaching if it's something specific that I want, right? I have a camera. I could either go to YouTube University, right? But if I want my handheld, if I want to ascend faster, I'm going to pay for a coaching to figure out, okay, what do I need as it pertains to this so that I can leverage it on my platform so I can become better and or make more money from it, right? It's like a good shortcut. You're cutting the time it takes to succeed by getting a coach most times because you have that clarity and you have that structure, right? Kind of like something else I'm building. Now, and before we go to real estate, I'm going to compare that coaching and consulting B2C to industry specific coaching B2B, right? Industry specific coaching is less of selling the next step to somebody, but more so this person is tenured. If you're watching this, as many of my viewers are, you might have been in your position or your industry, your field about 5-10 years now. Many of you can turn back around, build something out, and sell it to competitors of yours, right? For example, if you've been in education for 20 years, if you've held different positions as it pertains to education, if you've been the head of this department, if you've been the dean of a school, you then have information, maybe from one school, maybe to multiple schools. You can leverage that information and sell that to a school that wants some sort of consulting as it pertains to this specific goal that they have in mind or this specific campaign, right? So if I've been at a college or university for 10 years and I know an inefficiency that I was able to help, so long as you don't necessarily have a non-compete clause, most regular jobs don't make you sign a non-compete. A non-compete basically saying, hey, you can't provide this service that you're doing for us as an employee to another business or company for money or for compensation. Like, you can't compete, basically. So most people don't have a non-compete, but similar to the college professors that were repackaging what you need to know and selling that to individuals, this is something that will be sold to businesses, right? If a college was to say, you know what, we want to train our management staff, and we want that from the standpoint of somebody that has like 10 years in the business, they might go to that person to say, hey, what type of coaching or consulting can you provide our management staff, right? Now, obviously, you need to be a little bit more seasoned to do this, but compared to what it costs to get up and running, to get out there, to create some content, it's very valuable in the return that you can get. And again, if we're looking for a second stream of income, and we know that we're leveraging our 9 to 5, even if you've been there for half a decade or a whole decade, you can leverage that to be very beneficial for you by not just struggling to find individuals, but using everything that you've learned and leverage that to different contexts, whether immediate that you know already, or it might be mutual contexts as well, right? So then let's go to real estate. So real estate, you have investing and then you have it as like a business, right? So it's like, I'm not talking about just buying a property and putting a tenant in there. When I say real estate, as you can see, I'm talking as it pertains, and I'm going to say primarily to wholesaling and Airbnb, right? Wholesaling, though regulations across the United States are getting a little more strict, wholesaling is a great introduction to entrepreneurship. You can make a lot of money. I'm not going to say it takes the amount of effort it takes. It says high, but it depends on the type of person you are. If you're very organized, if you can continuously do something objectively, understanding that it's working towards a greater purpose, it won't require much more energy. It's half the time the energy that you put out when trying to do something with wholesaling or Airbnb is just going back and forth. Okay, is this right? Is that right? What should I say here? Opposed to already having a system built out. So as we get further and further down these vehicle types, you're going to see that real estate is going to start requiring a little bit more money on the startup, but you're definitely getting you're getting more back out of it. You know, real estate is basically like gold. You know, as they say, God's not making more land. And most of the people that are millionaires have a huge real estate portfolio. So again, I'm not talking as it pertains to buying and investing, though you can flip. You, if you want to buy a property sometimes. And again, this is very like get a little bit further down. But you might not even need capital if you know the right people, hard money lenders. If you go to different conferences, finance people, it's all about who you know, not just what you know. But as it pertains to people getting into entrepreneurship, I don't want to go too much further into that. I know people, check out the video on my channel with Tehran. He's in wholesaling. He's been doing this for a while now, and he's killing it out in Philadelphia. So if you have wholesale questions, feel free, check that out. Give him a call or reach out to him. Supreme Assets is his company, doing a great job. But it's something that you can get into. I've seen him coach people through it. I've seen other people coach people through it, and you can get into it. You can make money. Same thing with Airbnb. You might want to go to a specific expert to figure out exactly what I's to dot and what T's to cross. But at the same time, depending on the location, depending on a couple of different variables, it could be very profitable, right? But again, once we get to these higher tier vehicle types, motorcycle, jet, you have to have a little bit more of a long-term thinking. You know, if you're doing affiliate marketing, you could be thinking 30 days at a time. You might need to be thinking a couple months to a year to a couple years at a time when we start dealing with real estate and that top tier B2B industry specific coaching and consulting, right? And then we also have franchise ownership. I literally had over 60 businesses, and to narrow them down to 5 was crazy. I'm not gonna lie. But at the same time, I had to do my research. I had to take it away from me, take it away from the people I know that I've come in contact with, what they have gotten into. And I had to look at the field to figure out what are people getting into and why. And franchise ownership, I was going to change the wording for this, but franchise ownership is another one. Right now, um, you want more certainty, right? Especially with your money, with everything going wrong, going on in the world, especially with all these tariffs, everything's more expensive. Um, you might not get a guarantee with some things, but you can increase the level of certainty with things, right? If I buy Sam's Pizza and Sam's Pizza's been there for 5 years, it could go well, it could go not so well. If I buy Chick-fil-A, the certainty that I have that that's going to go well is more than the chances that it won't, right? Um, there's so many different franchises, so many franchise conferences you can go to. Though it requires though it requires much more startup cost, it's a long-term play, and that long-term play can benefit you a lot monetarily, right? Now, like I was saying before, though I have franchise ownership here, you might have seen this, but a lot of the boomer generation have had their businesses for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and they're looking to sell. So right now, there are people that are brokering the selling of a functional, like full-blown business to people that are looking to get, if not a franchise, just something that has some solid accounting, that's been profitable for the last couple of years, even through the pandemic, right? So by like one of my friends, he's been in business 15 years, and he's like, okay, JC, I'm trying to sell this. About somebody gives me 300,000, I'm out. They get the name, they get the clients, they get the schedule, they get everything. And he owns both his building and a convenience store next to it. But he's like, I'm getting to the point I want to enjoy my kids, you know, they're finishing high school, they're going to college, and I want to shift into different business ventures. So I'm just trying to sell this company. If somebody gives me a solid number, I think it was like around 300,000 or something like that, he's good, you know? And at that point, somebody gets a full-blown business that has clientele. It doesn't stop. You know, in most cases like that, or in some cases like that, you'll find um, like 3 to 6 months, the new owner will ask for the old owner that's selling it to stay there for that 3 to 6 months so that they can have a solid understanding of the day-to-day operations, the finances, so that a person that's never owned a business isn't up the creek without a paddle, right? So again, these are 5 different business types that you can get into, but everything goes back, like I said, what is your time available outside of your job? What's your energy look like from that 5 to 9? How much money are you willing to invest? How much money can you lose in the event that it takes longer than you intended? Like, what skills do you already have already? And how is your lifestyle going to align with that, right? It takes looking at where you are to figure out where you want to go. Um, and you have, like, it's not limited to this chart right here. Like I said, this is just 15 right here. Excuse me. For bicycle, you got so many different things: affiliate marketing, print on demand, online survey, sorry, selling digital templates, flipping items on Facebook Marketplace. There's so many. And then as you progress further up, car, motorcycle, jet. But then you got stuff that's not so sexy. You know, I'm gonna throw in there the stuff that's, because again, business is sexy, but then again, it's not always so sexy. Some stuff like government contracting, childcare, like freight and logistic companies, staffing agencies, security companies, accounting firms, commercial cleaning, like elder care. They might not be the most attractive, but we're gonna call those some buses. That's the vehicle that those are, because though it might be a little slower to start, or they're very steady, you know, it requires patience, expertise, and infrastructure most times. But once you get those things going, like telling somebody, "Hey, I got a staffing agency," but you're pulling in some crazy money and you're keeping a good amount of the profit, you don't always have to say, oh yeah, I'm doing this sexy thing that's shown on social media or stuff like that. Um, you don't want to outdo yourself. And that's why I think it's very important to have a conversation with yourself. Say, you know what? I know that I can commit to this. I know I can't commit to that. I know this looks amazing and that payout is insane, but let me start here. This is what I'm good with. Because again, I've had a person, not people yet, but I've had a person say, hey, I don't think entrepreneurship's for me, but I want to take some of these principles and I want to apply that to my current position so that I can get a promotion. I know that if I'm start thinking like an entrepreneur, KJC, that I can navigate my workplace taking this stuff and I can be in that position I want with that pay raise this time next year. And I felt that. I'm like, golly, man. Like, can you say that on the microphone? No. No, but for real, it's like, having these entrepreneurial qualities are huge. And yes, you need an extra form of revenue or extra stream of income, but at the same time, if you can move up and you can keep that, like your benefits and stuff like that, hey. So I'm never going to force anybody into it. Um, but yeah, like I said, we were getting right to it today. No fluff, just have an understanding that what you pick needs to match your life and where you're going, right? That doesn't mean that if you look at yourself in a negative way that you need to do something less than you. No. What I'm saying is have an understanding of how you accomplish things. If you're afraid of success, if you're afraid of failure, and look at that chart and say, you know what, this makes sense. Okay, that's more my lane. Okay, I'm cool with this. I don't want that much risk because I got this going on, and then go all in. As long as you have the right mindset and you do the work, it doesn't matter any of these five, any of those 15, any business, any vehicle that you go after, you can truly be successful in it. You just have to do the work. But again, everything entrepreneurship's here because that's what all these other people are going to say. Oh, you can make all this, you can make all, just do the work, and then boom, boom, boom. They speed over, do the work. And that's where people just have that disconnect. So I'm here to help you make sure that you feel good to do the work. That on the days that you're like, I don't want to, it's already in motion, so the work gets done. I know that it might just be you, but you also might have people that depend on you. And because of that, I'm going to give you the tools you need. Again, I'm not telling you what business to get into because they're all different vehicles, but I am, as in entrepreneurship, we are going to be both the fuel and the GPS to get you not just the energy you need, but also the different ways to get there. You feel me? So I think I'm going to end it there. I don't need to go in depth into me. I've had a crazy week these last couple weeks. Got a couple things on the horizon that I'm really excited about. I'm trying to get my feet on the streets, do a couple more day in the lives and interviews. I've been told that I'm really good at these interviews. You feel me? So I'm taking that to the next level. But more than anything, I've been working on something huge for you. So I have it in store. I'm coming out with more videos each week, and I'm coming out with shorter videos. Though I could talk, and I love, my pocket is like 45 minutes to an hour. I do have an understanding of my audience, and I have an understanding of the people that are serious. So am I going to make like 3-4 minute videos? No. But at the same time, I will make a 10-15. You feel me? So yeah, that's it for today. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. And until the next time, it's Kyle Jerome Carter, Everything Entrepreneurship. You have a great week, all right?